Hi YouTube. This is my first time attempting to vlog, so please be gentle with me. It's a lot different being in front of a camera as opposed to just watching these videos on YouTube, so yeah. Anyway, I am currently in the process of applying for the Interac program, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I found that there are a lot for JET, but there are only a few from Interac, and I know I've watched those Interac videos like 3 or 4 times each at least, and so I would really just like to contribute, and hopefully this video will be helpful to someone. Anyway, I have completed the online application, and it's a lot easier than the JET program application. This comes as no surprise. That's probably the first thing that people say when comparing the two programs. It was very straightforward. They ask you a lot of basic information, pretty much the same thing the JET covers, but not nearly as much detail about medical history or I don't know, just not enough, as much detail, or it's not as spread out or something. They do ask for a statement of purpose. I'll be honest and say that I actually recycled my JET application. Well, not this current year's JET application statement of purpose, but my last year, 2013 JET statement of purpose. And yeah, so I submitted that on the 28th of January, which was a Sunday, and I was watching YouTube videos, and I saw that a lot of people got their callbacks the next day, or within a couple of days, and for me it was Friday, a week had almost passed, and I was getting really nervous. I found out that around this time, which is when they start sending out the JET notifications as to who got interviews and who didn't get interviews, this is a very popular time for people to apply to Interac. Basically the people who got rejected from JET then apply to Interac in a lot of different programs. Another big time when people apply a lot is after placement requests have been or placements have been sent out by JET, so March, April-ish. So if you're applying during that time, I wouldn't get too hung up if you don't get a response in a couple of days. So I finally got my call back on Monday, a week after I applied. It was a number from Utah, because that's where they're headquartered, and I got mines at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, so basically I had Sarah, she called me, and she just wanted to verify some information. She wanted to make sure that my major was correct, that I'd be comfortable driving in Japan, questions about placement, nothing too difficult. And then after she had verified all that information, we scheduled a phone interview. And I don't like a lot of time between, or I don't like to have a lot of time waiting, so I would have scheduled it for the next day, to be honest, on Tuesday, but my schedule was kind of full and I didn't have my agenda in front of me, so I couldn't pick out a specific time, so I decided to go with Wednesday, which is actually today, the date that I'm making this video. And yeah, so I had my interview about 6 hours ago, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. For me personally, I do not like phone interviews. I do not like talking to people on the phone. I don't like getting phone calls. Texting, I'm fine. In person, I'm fine, but for some reason I do not like talking on the phone. It makes me very nervous. But I mean, there's nothing you can do. That's part of the interview process, and part of life, I guess. So you just got to deal with it. Um, Sarah called me, and I was expecting a call right at 12:30, which was when I set up my interview. A few other Interac vloggers said that they got theirs, right on the dot. And when 12:31 rolled by, I was kind of like, did I get the day right? Did I give her the wrong number? Do I not have reception? I was starting to freak out a little bit. Don't freak out. It's totally normal for them to call a couple minutes late. I got my call at 12:32, which is really close to 12:30. I wasn't waiting long, just the seconds seem to take forever when you're nervous. So Sarah called me and she was like, hey, you free to talk? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. Very nice. And we got started. I'm familiar for the most part with phone interviews. When I was job hunting in college, I had a lot of phone interviews for different prospective jobs. The phone interviews that I was accustomed to though were more business type interviews, and so I was really thrown off during the Interac interview when she just asked me extremely straightforward questions. She just asked me, why Japan? Why do you want to teach in Japan? What sparked your interest in Japan? What makes a good teacher in your opinion? What do you think your day is going to be like? Just questions that related to the job. It was kind of refreshing, but at the same time, the farther I got into the interview, the less confident I got. After every question, there is, or for me at least, there was a 15 to 20 second pause. And when you're faced with 15 to 20 seconds of silence, it's kind of unnerving. I'm assuming, this happens at a lot of phone interviews, I'm assuming that the recruiter's just typing down notes and information about what you had said, trying to pick out the key points. Just a tip, when I was applying for a different, or when I was applying for my current job with a phone interview, the recruiter said that I didn't speak at a normal speed when I was talking to her, or when I was answering questions. When I was talking to her, it was fine, but when I was answering the questions, I spoke really fast. And so she just suggested that I slow down. The recruiter will be taking notes, and you don't want to overwhelm them with information. You want to make sure that they get everything that you say. Don't get lost or don't miss part of what you're trying to say, I felt that my answers were kind of long. I hope I wasn't rambling, but I did try to answer the question as thoroughly as I could, and just kind of cut it off there. What was really unnerving to me though was after those pauses, I would always get the same, okay, great, and then ask the next question. And generally that's not a good sign, I think. Or at least in my experiences, that's not a good sign. At the end of the interview, she asked if I had any questions for her. She tried to answer them to the best of her ability. After all the questions, she asked me if it would be okay to contact my references. I told her that would be fine. I had informed my references right the day I was applying and listed them as references, that they may be expecting a phone call from an Interac recruiter, and they just wanted to ask a few questions. In addition to that, she told me that the Washington, D.C. In-person interviews are going to be on February 28th, so to keep that date open. However, a lot of the Interac bloggers that I've seen know at the end of their interview that they're going to be moving on to the next stage. She did not tell me that I would be moving on to the next stage. She also didn't tell me that I wouldn't be moving on, but she said to expect an email with my acceptance or rejection within a week's time. So that makes me a bit nervous that I didn't hear back right away, or that she didn't tell me right away. I guess I could have asked a question about that, but I don't know, it kind of slipped my mind at the time. But I was reading online, and they don't generally contact your references unless you passed the phone interview and they want to move you on. And I don't know why she would tell me about the date of the in-person interview if she didn't want me to proceed, but I'll find out in a week or less how it goes. I'll find out my results, and yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. Hopefully I get an in-person interview, that would be great, but right now I honestly have no idea. But it was a good experience, good practice. In addition to Interac and JET, I'm going to be applying for a bunch of other teaching programs as well, so hopefully something will work out for me. Feel free to leave a message in the comments below if you need any assistance or you have any questions, and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. I know that applying can be kind of tough, and it makes it a lot less scary when you have someone to talk or to go through it with you, or someone who's been through the process before. Thank you.